Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. We have Ashley Hicks here. What's up, Ashley?
Hola.
Hola. There we go. And Joe Courtney. How's it going, man?
It's good to be in the future instead of in the past.
Yeah, you're on the East Coast now, slowly making your way across the country.
World. Yeah.
Might not even happen. I'm betting it doesn't happen.
Delayed.
I think the whole world's going to get shut down and you're not going to be able to go anywhere. All right. So let's get some updates. Ashley, what you got?
Yeah, so I got a new wearable. I updated my Apple Watch.
Did you like, oh man, I would love this, and did it just show up?
No,
I'd love an Apple Watch.
Did not
there
happen.
it goes.
I actually, my Apple Watch Series 2 is what I had, and it was not connecting to my phone. So I wouldn't get, if you guys sent something on Slack or, I wouldn't get random things on my phone. I only keep certain things on my watch. I don't like to get like Facebook notifications or Instagram or anything like that. But if it's work calls or texts, like that's something I kind of walk because I walk around all the time because I have a kid. So I leave my phone, Lord knows where, and I never know where it is. But for some reason, my Apple Watch wasn't connecting. So finally I was like, you know what, I'm just going to sell this thing on eBay and then buy a Series 5. So that's what I did. And I like it. It stays on all the time. So Jared, it's really nice when you work out. But there's nothing profound, I would say, that's
right.
Super different. It's the exact same thing. It just is a little bigger.
That's what I was thinking about buying. I have the 4, but I was going to buy the 5 because a lot of the rumors were that it was going to have like robust sleep tracking stuff on it, and none of that. You still have to download apps and whatever for that stuff.
Yep.
So I was like, maybe I'll wait for the 6. Maybe they'll finally do something like that, but no.
Yeah. Is GPS better?
I haven't really.
A lot better. I don't know between the 4 and the 5. Probably not a ton of difference, but between
the
like
2,
yours and Ashley's old one, and Emily has the same one. Like, yeah,
the 2.
They've just gotten way better over the years because some of the problems that she runs into, I'm like, yes, not an issue for mine. Like, I don't know.
Probably what mine was because I had the first series.
Yeah, I think that they've just gotten better. GPS has gotten better. Battery life's gotten better, and that's about. The other cool things that they've done that Emily's didn't do, like you can put audiobooks and podcasts on your phone, and not have to be connected to your phone, which is
your watch.
Yeah, not have to be connected. So like that's huge because you can go running and listen to a podcast or whatever if you have, AirPods or whatever wireless headphones. So that's been really cool. My favorite way to run is that way.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. I write all my workouts down, and now I don't have to because I used to have to physically bring my phone with me. I would just have it on, not even on do not disturb, because then I wouldn't be able to listen to music and stuff. So now I can stream Pandora off my phone and listen to all my playlists, and what you said, like you can even download whatever podcast you want and do that as well. So I have yet to take it on a run. I haven't done any running stuff very far, or we've just been doing rowing. So, so that's that. And then my other quick little update is, our Walmart here is stocking stuff slowly but surely. So I'm hoping that's happening across the country. So they're, signing people's names out, per household. You get 2 things of toilet paper. But if I've heard from other people, thankfully here I haven't had an issue, but I know I talked to Emily and she said she went to Whole Foods and lots of vegetables and actual like fresh stuff was gone. And so my quick little tip for that is if you are in a pinch, go ahead and just go buy frozen veggies if they're available. Because you're still getting good nutrients. It's obviously not as great as if it's like right there and fresh, but you can still at least get some good food when you go and you buy your frozen stuff. So that was just my little tip that I thought of.
Yeah, and that's there. Just so everyone knows, there was no actual toilet paper shortage,
Right.
and it was just this ridiculous and stupid demand that people were like, you know what, I'm going to run out of toilet paper. It's really hilarious. I mean, I don't even want to dive into that any further, but like that's happening with everything. And I have no doubt that all of the suppliers we get our stuff from will meet the demand of everything within the next few weeks, and it's not going to be a problem. But people are funny.
Just get on Amazon and order you a bidet. We're good to go.
Yeah.
I bet those sales have gone up.
I did see, so kind of related, I saw that a lot of dumbbells on Amazon are sold out. So people are like actually trying to work out at home now.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I'm not biased at all, but I think if you want to start exercising at home and you want to follow like some good programming or whatever, there are options out there on the internet, and ours is the best. Joe, what updates do you have, man?
Not much, but as we alluded to earlier, I made it to the East Coast. I survived the pandemic traveling, flying across the country, which was kind of awful. There were still a lot of people in the airports, a lot of people flying. Washed my hands surprising. A ton. Yeah, my flights were actually like 80% full. I think it's also because I had a layover in Vegas and the entire strip shut down. So that doesn't help.
Everybody was leaving.
Yeah. But either way, there's still a ton of people. But I went online to see, because I was thinking about going out to North Carolina. And flights are like ridiculously cheap right now. So I guess a lot of people still aren't traveling. But I've had to make some adjustments.
They made an announcement yesterday on TV that it's the worst. Like it's even worse than 9/11 was for the airlines right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys, they're trying to get a bailout right now from the government, so it's pretty bad.
Oh, Jesus, everyone's getting a bailout. I also got an update last night because I'm in the Air Guard, California Air Guard, that they are being put on alert, but I'm on the I'm on the East Coast now, so sorry.
Oh man,
can't make it.
You're out of that 300-mile range, I think I heard about, or
yeah.
Should we be recording this?
I don't know. Anyway, they're not listening. As far as updates, I'm going to really try and run. The weather's not too bad here right now. It's actually really nice today, so I'm going to try and get a run in and just some calisthenics. But it's also been raining, hit or miss, on and off. Is
it cooler
here.
Up there?
Yeah, it's way cooler than San Diego. I mean, it's nice for here. It's like low 50s, but I just look back at San Diego
cold.
weather. It's
over, man.
Yeah,
those times are gone. Don't talk about them anymore. They're behind you. You have to move on.
Because Bahrain right now is actually really nice weather, but then like the summer, I'm just gonna die.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
That's not much updates. Just kind of a ramble.
All right. Well, then I'll get to my updates because they're very important.
More important
Jared
than mine.
basically just said we weren't important.
Yeah. Well,
at least me.
Compared to what my updates are, maybe, but they're not personal updates. They're updates for stuff that we have going on. So there is a barbell giveaway going on. You could go to garagegymathlete.com or into3fitness.com to enter that giveaway. But we also said we'd be doing some podcast free shirt stuff. So I'm going to read 3 right now. If you hear your name or username, should I say, go ahead and email us and let us know that we read your review and we will give you a free shirt. So the first one is, I love this one because it's not some weird username. And so I just, you can't lie to me. So it's Keith Fields, great podcast and training. He says, I started listening back when we had the Better Humanology podcast. The new format has me coming back each week. I enjoy the podcast so much that I read the book and sign up for the training, all of which has truly changed my life. So really appreciate that, Keith. You get a shirt, so email us and support it in 3fitness.com. and we will shoot you a shirt. Next, we have Scott Dombro. The title of his review is Health and Longevity Backed by Research. I've been aware of GGA from Into 3 Fitness for a couple of years now. Love the new podcast format. Keep up the good work. EO3 will get you to your goal if you put in the work. And then the last one we have, let me see. Opie 1973 exclamation mark. So I had to pick some that weren't names. Opie said, I've been following Garage Gym Athlete for over a year. As a 46-year-old firefighter, it keeps me in shape to be able to do the job. Also keeps me going on my days off, doing the physical activities that I do. The community is great. Podcast info is awesome. So those three, and we'll do some more next week as well. You get a shirt, really a shirt of your choice. So just go to garagegymathlete.com. We have a store. Pick whatever you like, and we will send it your way for free. And then we'll also announce that barbell winner when it comes up. So that is that. Other stuff.
Thanks for the nice comments, guys. That was really cool.
Yeah, I love the reviews, and the community really is awesome. That's what we get a lot of feedback from in reviews and stuff. People love the community, and I think you really have to be a part of it to understand that. The Facebook group is a major part of that. The podcast is as well. Next is Women's Health Track.
Oh, yeah.
So we mentioned this, and this is covered more in the webinar that you guys now have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That has happened already. If you're listening to this, it has. So you probably already know from there, but also real quick, Women's Health Track. So Women's Health Track is more coaching than regular Garage Gym Athlete membership. So the update is it's going to be a $49 one-time fee for the coaching with the Women's Health Track. And I just want people to know that. And the reason we're doing that is because Emily and Ashley actually do a ridiculous amount of work. And not that it's a bad thing, it's a great thing, but more than expected, a lot of help, a lot of coaching, answering questions, and really making sure all the women on the Women's Health Track are getting the results they want. So it is more of a coaching program. I want to be real clear on that. If you're a female who's just looking to lose weight, or a male, following a lot of our guidelines and just being on the shred track will be fine for you. You don't have to be on the Women's Health Track if you are a woman, but the Women's Health Track is just a very inclusive coaching program. So like when we do the Fuels course, we charge a little bit extra for the Fuels course because the Fuels course involves coaching and more in-depth work from our coaches. So the Women's Health Track is the same, but we tried to make it like the most nominal fee we possibly could for our athletes. So that's the only update there. You guys have anything on the Women's Health Track?
I just want to echo what you said. If you're a female, you don't have to do this. I mean, if you love Harder to Kill and you are seeing amazing results, or shred or strength or whatever it may be, stick to it. This is for women who potentially have tried some things and just need help tweaking, maybe some nutrition, or maybe you've got, some sort of autoimmune disease or something like that, and your hormones are kind of off balance. Emily and I are really focusing on that. So, give us a shout out. Let us know if you want in, and we will, I'm assuming, get that link and sign up stuff it'll real soon.
And the only other thing I'll say to hit on what Ashley just said, really, if you feel like you're doing everything right and you are not seeing results, you might want to be on the Women's Health Track, because women are complicated. And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about from a relationship standpoint. I'm talking about from, there are just so many more factors with hormones, whether or not, kids versus no kids, like, all these things, thyroid problems, all this, like, women are just more complicated. And I've just learned that as a coach, that a lot more has to be taken into account, especially if, like I said, if the mother is breastfeeding or has had 2 kids, or, all these different things. And so if you feel like you're doing everything that you can be doing, or you've done everything that you could do, and you don't feel like you're seeing the results that you should, then the Women's Health Track is going to be a great place for you to look at it. So I'm saying this to all not just the women listening, but also all the guys out there whose wives are interested in the women's health track. If anything that we just explained kind of sounds like your wife and you want to share this information, then definitely do so. It's going to be a great place and they're going to be very well taken care of. But a big thing that we got when we did our beta cycle last year was people wanted to like do hard to kill track, but get the women's health coaching. And we tried to be lenient on all that stuff. And we're not doing that anymore because you need to be on the women's health track programming. You need to be on the women's health track coaching, because taking one element of this, it doesn't work. It's a very all-encompassing program where we're taking everything into account. You're really getting your hand held for a lot of it by Ashley and Emily. So I think that just has to be known. Like, this is a full program. You can't mix and match because you would break the system that we've built. So just keep those things in mind when you're thinking about this or thinking about recommending it to anyone. But that's all I have on WHT, and I look forward to getting some people in the program.
Yeah. So I just have two quick things, even though I don't touch the program at all. But unlike the beta, this will be in Team Builder, so so those people will get access to Team Builder and tracking and stuff like that.
Good point.
And it will model a previous shred cycle from a while back, so there will be some barbell and other work. So just heads up on that.
Yeah, which can be subbed if needed. Okay, that's it on Women's Health Track. Now, book is the last thing. I'm actually undecided, but I just want people to know. So I wrote a book. It's called Killing Comfort.
What?
And we're pretty much, it's pretty much done. Like, it really is. Editor finished that first pass with the million corrections, and now we're on to the second one. But the second goes real fast, and she'll probably be done, I don't know, like in a day or two. But I might delay the publishing of the book. We're going to see. It just doesn't feel right now to be like heavily promoting something with the coronavirus stuff going on.
Right.
Like, I just actually don't feel right about it. Like, even with this new cycle coming up, we're going to like, announce everything, try and get some new people in the program. But it just feels weird and awkward to try to do any marketing or promotional stuff when there's a crisis going on, because we're not trying to capitalize on that. Like, we're not profiteering or like, trying to be like, yeah, coronavirus, make sure you go be a garage gym athlete. Like, yeah, it's a great fit, and we kind of joke about it, but it really doesn't feel right to me to be running like campaigns or doing promotional emails and all this stuff when coronavirus is going on. So I might delay it. I'm just giving people a heads up if people have been interested in the book, but I also might not. Because things could slow down. I wasn't looking to do it till the end of April, beginning of May anyway. So just a heads up for everybody. Cool. Now we can get into the study. Quite a bit of updates there. This one, I could sum it up in a sentence.
Do it.
But no, we're looking at trap bar deadlifts versus conventional barbell deadlift. So just a regular barbell versus a trap bar. If you're not familiar with the trap bar is like, it's like a hexagon, right? Yeah. So hexagon. Oh yeah. It's even the name of the study. So you stand inside of the hexagon, and then it has handles, and it's basically, you can deadlift with it. So if anyone, I know everyone's probably seen one, maybe haven't used one, and some people have. And so the actual name of the study is Effect of Hexagonal Barbell on the Mechanical Demand of Deadlift Performance. And this study was done in 2017, but I really wanted to pull it up because this conversation has actually happened in Garage Gym Athlete, people talking about pulling conventional deadlift versus trap bar deadlift. And while I've had a personal opinion on that for a long time, research can sway my opinions. I don't get dogmatic about any of my ideas. I'm not going to be like, barbell deadlifts are the best because I do them. And so, I'm very open to having my mind changed on things. And this study may have done it, so we can get into some stuff. I'll just read the basics of the study. Subjects were 11 young men who were proficient with both styles of deadlifts. The average deadlift was more than 2 times body weight, which I thought was pretty good for a study, finding people who are relatively strong, pretty strong athletes. The protocol, the study was conducted over 3 lab visits with a visit separated by at least 48 hours. The first visit was a 1-rep max testing session for both the conventional and trap bar deadlift. The order of testing was counterbalanced so that about half of the participants did trap bar deadlifts first, and about half of the participants did conventional deadlifts first. In the second visit, participants performed 3 sets of 1 rep with 90% of their conventional deadlift 1-rep max. In the third visit, they performed 3 sets of 1 rep with 90% of their trap bar deadlift 1-rep max. So heavy lifting with trap bar deadlift and conventional deadlift. And I'll just kind of lay out some of the data, like what the outcomes were, and then get input from you guys. Some of the basics was 6%. They were able to lift 6% more weight with the trap bar deadlift. Not as concerned with that. Velocity with 90% 1-rep max was 15% greater. The velocity, we've talked about this multiple times in this podcast, and 28% higher power output, as well as the proportion of the lift that was acceleration was 36%. So if speed is your thing and power, seems like trap bar deadlift has a lot of benefits. Now I do have some more stuff, but I want to go to you guys first. Ashley, what do you have? What are your thoughts on the trap bar deadlift versus conventional deadlift?
So I'm kind of like you. I actually looked into purchasing one last night after reading this study. And as speed and power and velocity your thing, that should be a heck yes if you're a garage gym athlete. And that's my personal opinion. You are looking to be a well-rounded athlete and everything. And yes, you want to be strong, but in order to be a good athlete, I think you need to be well-rounded in that as well. So the numbers per se, like you said, for the 1-rep max, the 6%, that's kind of small, but I think that's a significant increase using the trap bar with the velocity as well as the power. And then, I just put on my notes, I said, if you can, even if it's 6% more, if you can lift more or heavier weight quickly, doesn't that make you a better athlete? So that's what I took away from this study was, if I can move things faster and quicker. I was interested in hearing about how sometimes with the conventional deadlift, people were struggling more mid range, like in your deadlift, like
sticking
from your
point,
your sticking point, as versus I guess with the trap bar deadlift, it was if you couldn't even get it off the ground kind of thing. So I would like to actually try, maxing, for Fit Week, if you would, with a conventional bar, and maybe not quite what they did. Like they did it pretty much back to back, whether one group did the trap bar deadlift first and then the conventional barbell. I would like to do maybe a conventional lift, wait a couple days, and then go trap bar and see, could I potentially deadlift more just using a different apparatus, if you will. So yeah, that's my takeaway.
And I think and the reason I said I'm not concerned with the 6% more weight is because to me, and this is more stepping to my coaching or athletic opinion, they're just different lifts.
Right.
Like it would be like comparing, a front squat to a back squat to me and saying I back squat more than a front squat. Well, they're different lifts, I just don't consider them both. They're both a deadlift, but I don't consider them the same at all. I just consider them completely different lifts. And I think that's where like power lifters get butt hurt. And like everyone else is like, if I'm like, oh yeah, I can deadlift 600 pounds. And then I walk up to a trap bar and do it. They're going to be like, oh, get out of here, dude. Like that's a trap bar. What are you talking about? You deadlift 600 pounds. So I think that's where it comes in. Joe, what were some of your thoughts on this?
So I do have a bias against trap bars. So I'll just get that out of the way right now.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah, I'm not really as much a fan, but as far as good things for the study, it was cool to see that the sticking points were different. And I think to specifically work on certain parts of the deadlift and the sticking points are good. And then specifically adding the velocity velocity training could be cool if you do it as like an accessory to deadlift. So you mentioned like how pretty much treat the lifts as different is how I would see a trap bar deadlift, just like a sumo deadlift is not the same as a conventional deadlift. I think it has a place and a purpose to enhance your deadlift, but it shouldn't be your prime deadlift, in my opinion.
So what's your beef?
So to me, the biggest one is if you're going to lift something in real life, so like a deadlift is simulating lifting something like that's heavy to down on the ground. If you're going to lift something heavy in real life, it's going to be down on the ground in front of you, not to the sides of you.
I don't know. Like, that's exactly how I lift grocery bags.
Yeah. Okay. So trap bar, you're getting ready for your groceries and nothing else.
Really heavy groceries, man. I want to be able to do all of them.
Or
one trip.
Yeah. Or a child on each side of you.
Yeah.
If you have like overalls, something like that. So that's my big takeaway is that like carry over for life, and also like cleans. The first pull of a clean is a deadlift, a conventional deadlift. So that's one. Two is it is a great lift for like you can do a lot more weight, and because of that, I think people will just fall back to whatever has more weight on the bar because it's easier. And I think it can be a crutch because it's like, oh, well, I can deadlift 225 on a bar, but I can do 300 on this trap bar. So I'm just going to do the trap bar because it's more weight. But that's not necessarily means it's better to me.
Yeah.
Kind of like push press and strict press. Like, yeah, you can push press more, but that doesn't mean just because you're putting more weight overhead doesn't mean you should be doing that all the time. So I think it was really cool to see that. Or were you going to jump in there?
I was just going to say, I think where it gets polarizing if you do think of it as this either or is like,
right.
Yeah, like this is what I do for deadlifting. And we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. You can buy a really cheap trap bar on like Amazon for like $80, but if you want a legit one from Rogue, I think they're closer to like 400, $300, $400. So it is a lot of money. Cause I mean, you can get a barbell from Rogue for like $250, $260, something like that. So that is if cost is not a factor for you, then I would say like, why not get one? Just get one, add it to your training. It's going to make you faster, probably more explosive, and it might help with your conventional deadlift. But yeah, they are completely different. I remember watching the movie American Sniper, and who's that guy? Who is that guy? What is you guys remember his name? He was in the actor, not the Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're trying to make Bradley Cooper look all jacked and strong in that movie, and so there's a scene of him doing trap bar deadlifts, basically rack trap bar deadlifts. So it's elevated. Like I think onto tires or something. So we're talking about like 6 to 8 inches elevated and trap bar. So he could, I don't know. So he could do like 405 pounds on the deadlift or whatever. They're trying to make him look like super strong. I'm like, well, that's elevated and it's trap bar, dude. Like in the fitness community, you're getting laughed at right now. But anyway, yeah, I think if you want to move a lot of weight and build some speed, trap bar is great. I mean, the reason I want to kind of experiment with it is because of the power that we've talked about. Like if you can generate more power. Like I've done everything with my deadlift. Like I've done everything. I've got to the triple bodyweight deadlift. I've tried lifting for speed. I've done everything you can do with a conventional deadlift. So now I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll throw the trap bar in to get faster. Maybe it helps with my conventional deadlift more. It's kind of like why I bought the Concept 2 bike erg. I've had a rower for like 7 years and I'm just like, all right, like I'm good. Like I get it. Like I want to take a break. I didn't get rid of my rower. I still use my rower, but I'm on the bike more often because I've just been doing this stuff for such a long time. You want to switch things up. So that's my case for like why I might think about it. One, I get more powerful, and two, it's just switching things up, keeping things interesting in the garage gym. Yeah.
I think the weighted carries would be really cool with the trap bar to be able to do that.
And one thing, it's funny, what's starting strength guy, Mark Ripto, he has a video you guys should go watch on why the trap bar is a completely useless piece of equipment. He hates the trap bar. And I hate the trap bar too. If I built my entire career teaching people how to do conventional deadlift. But he talks about the main reason he hates it is because of the different planes of movement. It can move back and forth, So that's not something a deadlift, a regular barbell can do. And I don't know if I fully agree with his assessment there. I think that you can stay fairly stable without a lot of fluctuation back and forth doing a trap bar deadlift. But he thinks that that's dangerous. And I mean, just don't be dumb. Like, don't swing the trap bar.
Engage your core.
Yeah, like don't swing it back and forth.
A normal deadlift. Yeah.
But he does have a point there. Like you can't move the deadlift like backwards. You can move it forwards if you want and like hurt your lower back, but you can't move it backwards because your legs pin it in place, right? So it can't go all these different directions and different planes, and it can even go left and right a little bit easier because of how it's positioned.
Yeah, that was my thing for the trap bar deadlift. I was wondering, like, what were the, like, is it a different setup, versus when I come to a conventional barbell? Because I've never done trap bar.
It's fixed deadlift grip. So, like, if you and I were lifting, we'd have the exact same width on the grip because you can't change that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So, like, that is one thing that, you're shorter than me, but you're gonna open your arms a lot wider than I would, and a taller person is going to be more narrow, like a conventional deadlift. So that's the second thing about trap bar deadlift is like, okay, why does everyone have to have the same grip? That's not true in a deadlift. We're all going to take a deadlift grip our own way based off of our body type and stance and everything else.
So I think another thing for when we talk about setup is, and I noticed this when I watch people do it, is that you can squat down a lot farther on a trap bar than you can with conventional. So your knees are going to be bent more, which loads the quads a lot more. But in a conventional deadlift, they're in the way, so you actually can't. And right now on Liz's ship, so they only have dumbbells, a Smith machine, which you can't deadlift, and then somebody brought a trap bar and stuff, so she can actually deadlift. But I had to tell her, like, okay, this is going to be much different than a barbell. She's never used it. So I said, really pay attention to your setup. Make sure you're not squatting down. Make sure you're actually loading up your hamstrings and your glutes so that doesn't turn into like a squat. So that's another mistake that I see some people make. But as long as you're cognizant of it, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And so I think taking all of those things into account, if you want a trap bar, get one, like, just know all of this, especially what Joe just said. I think if you, like, I've deadlifted so much and for so long, I feel like I would set up on a trap bar just how I would on a normal deadlift. It's been a while since I've done trap bar. The only time that I've actually normally done them is when I'm traveling and, like, that's what that gym has. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll use it. But yeah, you're trying to not squat so far down. I forgot about that being a fact. If that's where you're starting, you're basically doing like a squat. You could basically do a squat and like just pick it up, which is would be funny to see, I think. Anyway, yeah.
So that's my two actual takeaways that are the positive points of not just my bias. I think for new lifters, if you can have access to one, so if you like in a regular gym, I think it's great to start with a trap bar because it doesn't load your back as much. A lot of people find it really awkward to pick up a barbell because they have to bend over so far and they're just not used to getting in that position and hurting themselves. So I think that is a really good place to start for very brand new people. And then later on, once you get used to like doing more barbell deadlifts, I think it's great to use to add the velocity that we were talking about. And we mentioned in programming before is that when we add dynamic lifting after we've already built a baseline of actual strength and stuff like that. So then when you start adding speed and dynamic to it, I would be interested for like myself to get on a trap bar now and actually try and like focus on lifting fast just to see how it would feel and how
heavy
it
and fast. Yeah, that's what's most interesting about it is because they're talking about 90% of one rep max here and still moving
20% more.
28% higher output, higher power output, which is that's a lot. Yeah. And something that just to note is, and it was noted in the review, but that is not peak power. Like all these other studies that have looked at these, this isn't the first study that's looked at conventional versus hex bar deadlift, but they look at peak power in other studies, meaning what was the fastest, no matter what point was it, whether it was the first inch of the lift or the last inch of the lift, what was the highest point of power that we hit? Everything in this study was average, which makes it even more powerful because they're talking about the full range of motion, 28% higher power output. That is significant when we're talking about power output and it just being an average, because that means peak power was probably much greater than that. And that's something to take into account too with the study. It was a really, really solid one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'd say you mentioned for beginners, I'd say for people who are, like I mentioned, maybe getting bored in the garage, or if you feel like your body is beat up from deadlifts, like if you're having some like lower back issues after heavy deadlifts, or you're just not feeling great. Like, by the way, that's not normal. I run into those things with athletes all the time. They're like, yeah, I did deadlifts and my my lower back will hurt for like 2 or 3 days now and I'll get back to normal. Like, that's not okay. Like, it's not, anything you do should not cause you pain for multiple days until the next week when you do it again. So if you are running into those problems, one, fix your conventional deadlift form or lighten the load, or try something like the trap bar deadlift and keep your body fresh. Because at the end of the day, who cares if all you're trying to do is lift in your garage and live a healthy lifestyle? Then it doesn't matter if you have a big conventional deadlift. Seems like the trap bar will get you most of the way there. And I didn't think I'd ever say something like that. So
wash it out of your mouth.
There it is. Yeah. Edit. No. Now we can move to the study unless you guys have anything, or the topic unless you guys have anything else.
No, I vented enough.
I think we gave very like good reasons on why things you want to think about. Okay. So the book this month was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we will just briefly give like some Fit Week suggestions because this is Fit Week at the time of recording this. All right. I have a lot of little things to say about Atomic Habits, but I'll let you guys go first. Joe, you can go first on Atomic Habits. What were some of your takeaways?
So it's been a while since I've read it, but I do, when I went to look back into it, it is a very practical guide on to how to start habits, little by little, affecting a small amount of change over time. And I think there were some really good steps to follow onto how to do that, which I won't get into specifics if anybody else had to, but I think that's really helpful to me because it's not necessarily the most, whoever's the most motivated to get, to start a habit. It's just whoever has the best approach to it, the most useful approach to it on how to actually make changes versus just, you just got to do it. You know, we love that Shia LaBeouf video as much as possible, but just do it. But
right.
It's very, very practical way to actually start to build changes. So if you need to want to incorporate changes in your life and not have it be a hindrance, this is a good one to check out.
How about you, Ashley?
So I also have kind of little ones too. I guess the biggest thing for me about this book is it made me realize how many habits that I have naturally built in to my daily routine. And something he talks about, he goes over, I just pulled it up actually so I could read this little snippet, but it says why your brain builds habits. And he talks about that habits are simply reliable solutions to recurring problems in our environment. And, he goes over how to build good habits and how to get rid of negative ones. And I love the suggestion that he did. He talked about changing your environment in order to take away a bad habit, because even if you try super hard, and we talk about, the determination and you just got to stop being lazy. And he actually talks about that your brain has already built in triggers to your body to make. So he's saying, if you want to stop a bad habit, completely remove yourself from that environment or change it up. So I really liked that. I liked that he gives you practical ways on how to practice on getting rid of those negative habits and then how to build your good ones. And then, my biggest takeaway for this was small habits lead to a big impact. I mean, that's exactly what I think he hits on in this book. The little things you do daily will build and become something bigger later on. So, it was a great book. And I really liked it.
Awesome. Well, I'll go over mine, and I kind of want to share some personal stories too. So, books like this, a part of the reason I wrote my book, Killing Comfort, is because the subtitle to Killing Comfort is the overlooked prerequisite to extraordinary results. And I think implementing something like habits for fitness or whatever, there's this zone of crappiness that people don't talk about to doing new things, like building new habits. Like, it's really hard. It's really hard. And so that's kind of what my book is about, Killing Comfort. Like, how do you actually be uncomfortable long enough, and then for something like what James Clear is teaching to take over, and build these habits. And so this is something, the reason I say that is just, this is something I've been fascinated with years. Habits in general, why some people can stick to things and why people can't, and building these habits. So if this book interests you, I think you'll definitely like my book when it comes out. Now, a few things that I wanted to say is, like, I picked up the at least 10 minutes per day of audiobooks several years ago. Like, and now by the end of this year, I'll probably have 250 books listened to. And I don't listen to in any big chunks ever. It's always like 10 minutes while I'm, doing the dishes, or 10 minutes in the morning. Now I can do that multiple times throughout the day, but just the whole idea he had of like little habits adding up to big things. Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything. When you listen to 10 minutes of an audiobook, you're like, okay, like barely even got started there. But now, like I said, fast forward several years, I'm getting closer and closer to, like I said, 250 books, which is a lot of books. It's a lot of books to crush little by little. So I think doing little things like that is really big. He talks about implementation intentions in his book. So this was also good from another book recommendation called Nudge by Richard Thaler. He talks about this a lot, just human behavior in general. And in our coaching program, we talk about if, when, then statements. So just being very clear about how you're going to do something and never being vague in your execution of that. So if you want to start a new habit, very clearly say what that is. So that's what an implementation intention or statement would be, is like, okay, I'm going to start working out. It's tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm going to put on my shoes and go out to my garage or go outside and go for a run. Like, being very clear. And I've found that to be true of myself. Like, if I want to start something new and I'm real clear on like what I'm going to do and when it's going to happen, even in work, if I'm like, yeah, I need to do that video or whatever that needs to happen for stuff we're doing. If I'm kind of vague about it, like I put it off and it gets, I don't do it well. But if I'm very clear, like this is exactly what it's going to be, when it's going to happen, it gets executed. So I think those are huge.
Or you announce it publicly.
Or now like, hey, I'm writing a book. Haven't even started yet, but now I have to. And the last one I wanted to point out was he talked about breaking bad habits to make friction in your life with bad habits. So making things that you don't want to do harder to do. And this is something that Emily and I have done to an extreme. So we bought 2 timers, outlet timers. And they're cheap. I honestly think like 2 of them, it's like $5 on Amazon. And 2 things happened at our house towards the end of the night. I can't remember, maybe it's like 9:30 or something like that. But timer 1 goes off and it cuts off our TV. Our TVs can no longer be turned on because the outlet timer fires. And so I could go over there and turn it back on because it has an override switch. Second thing that happens, the internet, the Wi-Fi router gets cut off by outlet timer about 5 minutes after that. So now I have to go to sleep. I could go to the TV and change that. Then I could leave my room and go, get the Wi-Fi router turned back on and let that fire back up. But that's way too much friction for me at the end of the day. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not watching TV. I'm not going to go try and fix the internet. So I'm just going to go to sleep. And that helped me because sometimes I had a bad habit of staying up later. And, we've talked about prioritizing sleep. Like I wouldn't stay up super late, but just later than I wanted to, like, into the 10s, maybe 11. I just doing nothing most of the time, like nothing super productive that late. And I'm like, well, I want to stop that. So that was my friction story that we have. That's like, it works. I've never once turned both of those back on and been like, nope, I want to do something on the internet so badly that I'm going to get up and turn all this crap back on. It never happens. I'm like, all right, go to sleep.
Man, you're like self-grounding yourself.
Yeah. It's kind of like having a parental curfew that you set for yourself.
Yeah, I could not do that. I mean, I have an awesome bedtime routine, but if I had something that just cut off on me in the middle of it, I'd get so pissed.
It's happened to us before. We've been watching TV and been like, the TV just like,
show.
It like stops and it's like, it starts spiraling because it's like, oh, we can't find a connection. And I'm like, yeah, there it is. Guess we'll go to
won't
sleep.
See how that murder ended.
Yeah, so we've actually done that. And I did have one more. He talks about habit stacking. I just think that's a great thing in general. If you already do something every day, I do stuff like this before I even knew it was called something. But like if I need to take I've primarily done it with like supplements. Like I wanted to start supplementing with vitamin D. 97% chance I'll forget to do that if I just have it in my medicine cabinet. But if I put the vitamin D on top of my coffee maker, never going to miss a cup of coffee in the morning. That never happens. So if I walk up to my coffee maker and I see the vitamin D on top of it, I'm like, oh yeah, take the vitamin D. So habit stacking, adding, a habit you already have and putting a reminder next to it or whatever, I think is a really great strategy for getting things done. So in the end, I love this book. I think it's great. And I highly recommend it for anyone who wants to build good habits or break bad habits. And now Fit Week. Quick recommendations from each person. What is your best? So Fit Week is our testing week. I kind of want to just mention the evolution of my personal journey in Fit Week and how I've changed over the years, but I'd love to hear any tips that you guys have. Ashley, what do you have?
Yeah, so mine have changed too. When I first joined Garage Gym Athlete, I had a bunch of numbers and stuff that I really wanted to hit. And I think I've slowly transitioned to just wanting to be healthy. And, if I lift heavy things, I lift heavy things. It's great. So that's my tip. I don't necessarily focus too much on PRs. I try to hit it. It's not like I go at it half-assed, if you will. I still go in it full every single time. And I like to try. But if I don't hit a PR, I don't beat myself up. I think that's the biggest thing for me I have changed my inner chatter, if you will. We talked about this a couple podcasts ago. And I just try to have fun with it. I still use my jams. Everybody knows I love jams. So I listen to a ton of heavy metal and rock.
Not the kind you spread on bread.
I was almost made that joke. I held back.
I saw it in your eye.
Like strawberry and...
I could see you thinking about it.
You two are killing me. Anyways. Music. I listen to a ton of it. And so I listen to heavy metal and rock when I lift. That's just, I know what motivates me. And so that's what I use. And then when I'm going for that 2,000 meter row, which I don't even want to think about, I have to listen to EDM or something techno, something with a high beat. For me, I know that, again, I still think we should do a study on it, but I think a bunch of cadences for me, like it helps me do that. And for some reason, if someone's screaming, I feel like...
Or music behind you.
Music would help me on the 2,000 meter row for like 4 minutes. And then the last 2.5 or 3,
you
whatever
just get upset or something.
I would rip the headphones out of my ears. Like, I'm stop with the noises. Like there's enough going on right now.
Well, let's be clear. Your 2,000 meter row and my 2,000 meter row looks a little different. So yeah, I know.
Painful nonetheless.
But it's funny because I know what songs that kind of get me or what songs like what kind of cadence. And so especially for a 2,000 meter row or for a mile time trial or a 1.5 mile run, whatever it is, I know where I need to list my songs because I buy my own music some of the times too. And so I make my own playlists, especially during Fit Week. And I know that's dumb, but I do. I spend 15 to 20 minutes tweaking my own playlist. Like, okay, this needs to come on here and here. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's...
Are those on Spotify? You should share them with the community.
They're not. So I am working on that. So I will make some more playlists and share them. I know we have some.
There's a Garage Gym Athlete one that I made like 2 years ago, and
it's been a while.
I've only added a few things since then, and I've been meaning to update it some. So there's one out there, and I can update more to it. And there's a large variety. So it's like there's rock, there's EDM, and things that are upbeat. I
think that was just kind of like a sample pool of like people's recommendations, right? And
it was like one comment thread, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll put these on there," and then some other things that I like. And
so you might have classical, then transition to.
Oh no!
Well, I rooted some things out.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. So be looking for Ashley's Jams on Spotify, and as a Etsy store in which she sells strawberry and
stop.
I mean, if you make different jam playlists, then you can just be like, this is my strawberry jams. This is my blueberry jams. And they can be like different moods.
These are my berry jams.
Today's a strawberry day.
Oh, man.
All right, Joe, what do you have for Fit Week?
So for starters, don't stress or worry about doing every single component of Fit Week if you don't need to or want to. I'm at the point now where my squat or like my back squat and my deadlift, I might not improve I might only do twice or once a year to actually like 1 rep max. I'll go up to like a heavy one. So work up to like a heavy one, but you don't need to go into it thinking, okay, I need to try a PR. I need to match my PR. It's not necessarily important every time. And, when it comes to PR, when you PR something, that might mean that day you're 1% more ready than you are another day. So you might not always be equally ready every single time you go to PR. So don't necessarily worry about that or all of the conditioning metrics as well. Just do it. You can even do it like a 95% effort, or you can even skip them. We have other workouts that we program on Fit Week now that are just extra stuff that you can do that isn't max out testing, because it's not always good. Like if you're not ready for testing, then don't worry about it.
Yeah. And, I've kind of been towing the line mentally between holding the standard and relaxing, like being like, okay, whatever. So I really want to try and make sure that I do Fit Week twice per year at a minimum. So we do it 4 times per year. I won't be doing it 4 times this year, but definitely twice, because I think there is like, if you're really in that mindset of like, I'm not worried about any PRs, could care less, then that's fine. But for me personally, and it could just be an ego thing, I've been at that competitor level for our standards for a long time. And if that starts slipping, I don't know how I'm going to handle that mentally. So I have to, and if it starts slipping, it would only be because of the effort I'm not putting in. Right. So I need to, kind of hold that standard. I want to hold that standard for as long as I can. So I will be testing primarily conditioning metrics this one, because after the Murph project was over, I tested all my max lifts just out of curiosity. And I also did the EO3 fit test, or the kettlebell test, So I did those things right after the Murph project was over. So I have fairly recent barbell PRs and other metrics. And now I'll be doing all the conditioning metrics, like the 2K row, which would be awful, and the run and everything. So I'll knock those things out. So I will say, just know where you're at and how you feel. Like me personally, I'm still in this mindset where I want to hold a certain level and a certain standard. And so I'm going to try and make sure I at least check those, because I don't want to say I'm at the competitor level, but be like, oh yeah, well, I mean, it was tested 3 years ago, but I'm not the competitor level. Like, I hate it when people do stuff like this. Like, what's your deadlift? Well, it was 650 19 years ago, but I haven't tested it since. Like, well, probably not 650 anymore. Like, if I had to guess, and I don't want to be that guy. So I would just say, know who you are and what you want to do. And,
goals can be a factor too. Like if you switch to strength check the last 1 or 2 cycles, your 2K rows probably could have gone down. Like it might not be better.
A 500 meter row is going to PR.
Exactly. Yep. Do the powerful ones, the shorter ones, and you'll be good. Yeah. And then I'll just have one little note toward Fit Week, just because I know it comes up every time. We do program bench press, but we don't test bench press because of safety reasons.
Is it in there?
Not for Fit Week.
Oh, it's not. Yeah. Oh, why we don't do it is what you're saying.
Yeah. Because we always have that remark of like when we do the strict press day, people are asking, okay, I did bench, but where is it on here? Well, it's because we don't actually program it to test for PRs. And if you can do that safely with somebody, then go for it. But it's not actually one of our Fit Week things.
You know what's funny about bench press? I never do it. Like we've even programmed it in sometimes, and I still will be like, I'll opt to do strict press. Like I'm not a huge bench guy. But what's really funny about it, I don't have a massive bench. I think the most I ever benched was like 315. And that was when I was in college, and the bench was super important. And that's still not even that big of a bench press for a lot of guys out there. But I recently maxed out on the bench press. It was during that Murph testing, and I hit 285. Like nice. And I'm talking like super surprised because I just never do it. Like never do. I was like, this might be embarrassing. Like this might be like a 225 pound bench press. So I was just like curious more than anything else. So it's funny, like we never really train bench press. Me specifically, even when it's programmed, I don't do it most of the time. And I mean, I would still say that's fairly respectable for someone who never bench presses like ever, So I think that was, I don't normally throw numbers out on the podcast. And I don't think that that's a very good bench press. And so that's why I'm throwing that number out there. But you'd be surprised what your body can maintain when you're just doing solid, well-rounded training in every other regard.
But big picture, somebody that can probably bench press over 300, how fast can they do 200 push-ups?
Right. Well, that's part of the reason I wanted to test bench press is because of the Murph project. There's so much, so many push-ups in that. Because my strict press was about the same, where it's kind of always has been. And I was like, I don't have a recent bench press max to compare it to, but I'm like, what does a lot of push-ups every week do for you? And so maybe that was the only factor. But
funny thing, I hate push-ups, but I absolutely love to bench press. It's so weird. And I test out my bench because I make sure Scott's with me. But yeah, I really love the bench press. And then the other thing you said that made me think, for all you ladies out there who had a baby, it definitely moves you from the competitor level to the established level. So I will definitely be trying PRs because I have not gotten back up to my competitor level that I was at before Connor. So, and you know what? If I never do, that's fine. It might be different for the rest of my life. Who knows?
You made your own little competitor.
that was cute.
After baby competitor level, we should have just like a little.
There are age brackets. We did like.
Hey,
I took some significant.
No, I'm the oldest one here. That's mean.
No, slick.
Hey, no, I was trying to. There are, if you guys haven't seen those, like I even pulled up studies for this. I didn't just arbitrarily do it. Like I looked at VO2 max reduction based off of age brackets and all this stuff. And so we have our standards that are also then for male, female, and age brackets. So I don't even know where it's at. No, I'm kidding. It's in the app. So if you go, we've built so many things over the years. We're not very organized, but I'm 99% certain if you go to the app and you go to more documents and links or whatever, there's the standards are in there, and you'll see the one with the age brackets and everything. So go check that out if you guys are interested. Like I said, male, female, or age dependent stuff. So because you could be in the competitor level. If you're like 47 and you're like, oh, competitor, I'm never going to try that, but you might be there based off the age bracket. So keep that in mind. All right. Last but not least, because it is Fit Week, we always test the EO3 5K during Fit Week as the Meet Yourself Saturday workout. So that's what we're doing. You guys know it well enough to brief it off the top of your head?
For
it's
sure.
Ashley's favorite.
There you go.
It's 6 times of an 800-meter run, followed by 3 rounds of 5 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 15 air squats. And then, so you repeat that 6 times. And then you rest for 2 minutes, I believe. And then you do, nope, did I mess that up?
No, I don't know.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure you rest 2 minutes and then you sprint a 400. Yeah. Is that correct?
400. I think it's a 400 and then a 200.
I got it. So you got the 6 rounds, 800 meters, 3 rounds, 5, 10, 15 of push-ups, sit-ups, squats. Rest 3 minutes, 100-meter sprint. Rest 60 seconds, 100-meter sprint. Time cap is 60 minutes.
I would have to do more work.
Well, it's the final part that's hard.
Nobody ever does that. People only ever do really the 6 rounds of 800 meters. So you run 800 meters, and then you would do 3 rounds of 5 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 15 squats. You do that little circuit 5K. 6 times. Yeah, but it wouldn't be a full 5K unless you do those 2 additional 100-meter sprints. So that's
which I do.
Yeah. What people always ask, and I don't even know if we land on what we officially do. I mean, I guess I should be the one who could determine that, but the rest 3 minutes is supposed to count as part of your time. Right. And so is the rest 60 seconds. That's when I wrote the workout, that is what it was supposed to be. But most everyone, just so you know, when they're reporting their times in the Facebook group or whatever, they're really probably only reporting their times on those 6 rounds of the 800 and the calisthenics, because you already have 4 minutes of rest built into your time. Everyone should have that. And some of the times I'm seeing, I'm like, no, you did not. But it's fine. It's fine. I don't care which one you're reporting, but maybe just let people know, because people do both. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did it the right way. Do you want to go, Joe?
Man, I can't even remember what my tip's been in the past. This is the one where we had VD on and everybody was like, oh, the run is the rest, and then me and you, I think, were like the calisthenics are the rest, or something like that. The run you have to pace. I think you have to do like a good 90% of whatever your mile time, or not mile time, but basically 90%, 85, 90% effort on the run to keep those run times consistent throughout, and then the calisthenics as fast as possible.
Yeah,
that's how I basically do mine.
Yep.
So calisthenics are the hard work, and
Correct.
the run is your rest.
Yes, that's what Joe and I agreed on last time too. And then you and VD said the run is your.
That's only if you want a good time. But...
Oh, okay. Hey, I do it that way, and I have gotten under 40 minutes the last couple of times. So.
You really can do it either way. I think, VD and I may have a slight leg up on the calisthenics, having done Murph for a year. Like, being like, we just can't do them much faster, right? The sit-ups could slow us down. We haven't been doing a lot of those, but I mean, I just think that you should, on the run, like whether you want it to be your rest or whatever, I just think that it should be a consistent pace is what you should be shooting for.
Right.
Because a lot of people can't run fast for 800 meters. They just, people don't know how to pace that in general terms. So just maybe give that some thought before you get started, because you'll think that you can run 800 meters a lot faster than you can. And as that time goes on, it's just going to creep up further and further. So, maybe take whatever your fastest mile time is and try to do close to that for 800 meters, or just a little bit, maybe 10, 20% above that. Slower than that, should I say? That would be my best advice. But I mean, my actual plan of attack when I do it is as fast as you possibly can.
Shocker.
But for this one, for real, like, why do you need to slow down on anything? There's there's no reason to slow down. And if you want to make it harder, wear a vest. I've done that before. It makes the sit-ups stupid. It just makes them dumb. But
you have to like cross your arms on your chest.
Yeah. I think you have to end up like doing, like crossing your legs, like kind of like Indian style. If you're to sit down, like crossing, like crisscross applesauce type
butterfly
thing. Yeah. Because of the way.
I only do butterfly.
Yeah, same.
Oh, there you go.
I don't do normal sit-ups. Yeah, that was my thing, is like the transition from the push-ups, like right immediately from push-up, I immediately flop over.
Right.
Like I look ridiculous when I do it. And then my last sit-up, I immediately push myself up and then immediately start my air squats right then and there, and then go from there. So I don't really move
go from
very much.
Sit-up to feet up, and you're in the squatting position and you stand up. Would that count?
Does not count. Okay. Nope, that does not count. That's cheating.
Just making sure everybody's aware of what a full rep is.
Don't cheat. No. Stand up first and then start your air squats.
Yeah. All right, cool. I think that's everything. That's all I have. Crush it in a fit week. I will say, if you want to get started with Garage Gym Athlete and you're not, now is a great time. You could do 14-day free trial. I think we're doing 30 days for $1. Like we're just doing a lot of promotions right now for people who are interested in getting started. Like I said, it feels kind of weird to have any sort of promotion going when you're in the middle of a crisis. But I feel like our service helps people more than anything else. And we're not trying to take advantage of anybody or any situation. We're just looking to provide training like we always have, to the best of our ability, and provide the best service for online programming that's out there. That's our only goal, our only mission, and the only thing that we're going to keep doing. So if you want to be a part of it, now is a great time to join. You could get started with Fit Week or the first day of the new cycle. We'd love to have you. And now for everyone who is around, like, get after it. Like, get that killing comfort patch. Stay consistent. We don't know how long people are going to be quarantined and all this other stuff that could happen. And the only thing I think that you can do in these situations is focus on what you can control. And what you can control, if you have a home gym, garage gym, whatever you want to call it, is your consistency and getting after it, because things can get a little bit depressing if you're not used to staying home a lot. Maybe you're a really social person. These are all things I don't know anything about, by the way. If you're a really social person and you go out often, like right now could be a depressing time for you. And if that is the case for anybody, do not let fitness drop. Like, do not let it fall off. Whether you're doing a walk or run or following our programming, stay consistent and stay after it, because that it will, if things ever get tough for me mentally, I feel like the only thing that I need to hold on to is is fitness. Like that's the only, like everything else I just got it. Like that's the only thing that's going to keep me in line and keep me moving forward. So I give the same recommendation for anybody. If you're struggling through this time with a quarantine or just family members, coronavirus, all this other stuff, either way, thanks for listening to the podcast, and get started with us on the new cycle. And we'd love to have you. All right. Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.